Welcome back to In My Field. I am JRE.
I'm Emily, and we have very special guests with us today. I feel like you guys are probably the most popular K-pop producers or K-pop centric producers out there. This duo, they've worked multiple times with your favorite groups like EXO, Red Velvet, SHINee, NCT, Super M, Astro, Twice, IOI, The Boys. Most recently, ITZY and GOT7, as well as Shinhwa, and many more. So, please welcome Greg and Hayden of LDN Noise.
Well, thank you for that wonderful intro. What can we say? Yeah,
that was great.
Yes.
Wow,
making us sound really good.
Hey, we have to, of course.
Exactly. Can you guys introduce yourselves if I missed anything, just in case?
Yeah, so I'm Greg, half of LDN Noise.
I'm Haydel, the other half, which makes LDN Noise.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Love it. Yes. Very thankful that you guys are here with us today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure.
So we were talking about it a little bit before about the COVID situation and how it's so prolonged. How has the process for you with quarantine and everything made the production process any different, if at all?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I mean, for starters, the whole release schedule for 2020 has just got pushed further and further back. Sure. So that's been a shame because obviously nobody can tour, nobody can promote their songs. There's no TV shows. There's there's no internet. It's like, so everything's got pushed back. So we've really just spent, I mean, during the lockdown period, we just spent a lot of time with our family and just like most people, just reflecting and realizing, reconnecting with your family and just realizing what's important. Yeah. So first and foremost, that's been a nice thing to happen, that kind of reset button. Yeah. Obviously, after 2 weeks, everyone hates their family and want to get back to work again. So,
I feel that.
So we never really stopped working, have we?
No, we're always making music. We're always, no matter where we are, situation, we're always working. But it kind of took a couple of weeks for everyone for the emergency quarantine to set in, and then we kind of got back to it with Zoom and Discord, places like that, where we was doing online sessions and we were running a few camps.
Oh,
okay.
We just found a new way of working, really, and it's been really beneficial to us.
Yeah, just like we're talking to you guys now, we've been doing sessions like this where we just, play tracks back and forwards, we might sing an idea and we sing it back or whatever, and we've just been figuring it out remotely between, like you say, different time zones or whatever it may be.
How is a virtual song camp? Like, how does that work? Especially, like you said, there's so many people in so many different time zones.
Well, I think initially we connect on a call and then we discuss the idea about what we're going to work on, the direction, and then me and Hayden will make a track or at least the kind of bones of a track, play it to the writers, and get their feedback, and then they send us ideas, and we just pretty much just go back and forth as we would in the studio. That's exactly how we do it in the studio. We vibe off each other, change stuff up, and then eventually we come to something that meets in the middle. So it's been pretty much the same way, just that we're doing it through technology now and not in person.
Do you like it more in person, or it doesn't matter?
No, I don't really like people, to be honest. Yeah, of course, we miss traveling, we miss having that bond with people and the vibes you get together. Yeah. But luckily, we're a duo, so we can feed off each other and we catch a vibe off each other. Yeah. So.
And it's easier being in a room with a writer. We do top line as well, so we always have small suggestions that we like to put in. So whereas when you're working over the internet, sometimes you have to, there's a delay in kind of getting ideas, exactly how you want them. So there's a few back and forths. Yeah. So whereas you could have a song in a day, this way of working takes a few more days to get it perfect.
Yeah.
What's the most rewarding thing, like working as a pair?
Bouncing ideas off each other and having that soundboard. Like sometimes I'll spend a day doing stuff and I hate it and I hate myself and I hate my life. But like he might come into the room and be like, oh wait, but that section there, if we do this and we move this around, whatever, I think. And equally, it works the same way. Like he can do stuff that he thinks is terrible, and then I can hear something in it. And just being inspired by stuff. So we're not always terrible, obviously. Just being inspired by what each other brings to the table.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whether it's like, you know, sounds or like an arrangement style or anything. So
it's like different ears. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you can get lost in songs a lot of the time. My problem is I put way too many sounds in. I put like a wall of sounds, and Greg will come in and be like, mute everything, and I'll be left with one sound.
Yeah, because you know, sometimes less is more, but Hayden has a capacity to just load it.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so you just find a balance.
Yeah.
I come round to the idea and think, yeah, he was right.
What was like the moment you guys realized, like, okay, we are going to be this pair that will work together as a joint duo?
I mean, we've been friends. We was friends initially because I knew his brother.
Yeah.
So, and then like his brother was like, oh, this, you know, my little brother makes music. Like, you should meet him and blah, blah, blah. So like Hayden came to the studio that I was working at the time, and then we just sort of clicked and got on well. And then when we just got introduced to K-pop, we just, I don't really know. I don't think there was a specific moment. We just kind of started working together, started vibing. And then once people started liking what we did, we was like, oh shit, this works. Like,
Why not?
Maybe we should think about doing this properly.
Love that.
No.
So then what's the hardest part about working as a pair?
You can answer that one.
Okay.
Good question, because I suppose it's that kind of, each of you have an opinion about a melody, a sound. It takes, sometimes it's a good, healthy kind of way of working. You kind of battle through trying to prove your ideas and points. So sometimes it can be you really believe in an idea, and then it can... Yeah,
sometimes we argue. Sometimes it's like, no, I disagree.
Yeah.
But most of the time we just work it out.
Yeah. We've worked so long together that we learn each other's roles, and it just works. So it's a hard question because there's not really a negative about working with a duo.
With me.
With Greg. Who paid me to say that?
Right.
Okay. He slid some pounds in there.
There you go.
All right. Well, it seems like your work is consistently like coming in for you with all immense success. Was there ever a time where your work was slow, or you had to like work on yourself or mental state in order to stay positive?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, in all truth, we've been very lucky with London Noise, and our career as London Noise has been great. It's just been on the rise and rise. But I think like prior to that, we both had struggles trying to get into the game and trying to, you know, have a career in music and sustain a living through music. That was tough. But once we kind of found our groove, then we've been fortunate enough to be successful.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the problem with social media nowadays. Everyone only sees the good stuff.
Yeah.
And we've taken so many no's and knockbacks, but we use that as a positive to kind of be like, no, we need to get that. Yes, we need to get that. That song with a certain artist that we've been getting no's from for years and years. We're like, no, we set a goal and we're like, we're going to achieve it.
But like even now, obviously, we still get knockbacks. We still get told no, or we still get told they don't want that song, or, you know, it's not. We
really
probably write hundreds of songs a year, and you know, like 15 or 20 get cut and released. So you have to put the work in. You know, everything we do isn't great. I mean, we think it is, but like obviously other people don't think it's right, or sometimes it takes a bit of time to get to the right project,
or adapt a song.
artist.
And you just take a song that you think was right and you completely flip it to make it right for a certain brief. So we're always striving to improve. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Oh, this is an interesting question. Who comes up with the idea first as a duo? Has there been moments where like you came up with one, or you came up with one and just rolled with it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, sometimes we just make songs individually, like are just fine. And I won't touch something he's done that's brilliant, and equally he won't touch something that I've done that he feels is right too. It just depends, really. We just feed off each other, and we know we've got such a great working relationship now that we're honest. So if something is wrong, we pull it apart and fix it. And you know, if it's great, then it's great, and we leave it. So we don't really put too much pressure on who does what. Yeah. And what roles we have within the team. We just kind of contribute equally to everything from like creating, from mixing, recording vocals, whatever it may be. We just kind of shared a load, and like luckily enough, we both have the same sort of working mindset, and we're both committed to doing a good amount of work a day. So we never have any trouble with that.
So let's say like before the 2015 era, 2016, when you were working with FX and Shiny and that kind of thing, and you guys were, or let's say even before LDN Noise came about, you guys were obviously making music beforehand. So when you had those lulls, or let's say right when you were about to hit that, like really, you know, when View came out, and you know, Four Walls came out, like when people really want something to happen for them, like big, like normally it doesn't happen for them until they least expect it, if that makes sense. So was that something similar for you guys, or was it something like you were expecting?
I think at that time, so like we've touched on this a few times in interviews, but when we got into Kpop, it was like a friend of ours showed us a video, and we was like, wow, what are these colors? What is this music? Why does it change every 2.5 minutes? Like, what is going on? And we was like, we were just blown away and drawn into like the whole scene. And at that time, like you say, we was just starting out, so we didn't have much pressure on us. So we was very relaxed about our approach to it, and we was having fun. And I think like the advice that we give to people when they DM us or whatever about how can I get into K-pop, I always tell them, just like, work with your friend group, work with the people that you connect with and you vibe with, and you'll come up together. Because that's what happened with us. We connected and we worked, found some peers that we got on with as well. Yeah. And it was when we just clicked and kind of got on together that we started making progress in music industry. It wasn't us reaching out to top level writers or to people that are already established. It was just staying in our clique and doing our thing. And I think that's like, I think when people are starting out in this industry or in any industry, they try and think, how can I get from this position to this position
really
quickly? And you know, you can fire off emails and get nothing back. And sometimes you just got to take a step back, have fun, create, and then just work on your own network and let it grow organically. And I think that's kind of what we did, really. We just didn't have much pressure, and and it just started to happen when we least expected it, like you said.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. You mentioned that. Like, I've heard a quote that's like, you know, rather than trying to go vertical, like trying to reach up and try to, you know, get, you know, in contact with all these higher, I guess, ranked people, like move laterally, I guess, and like try to work with your peers, and eventually you guys are all going to move up together in a way. Which is exactly what happened.
That's like the dream.
Right. Yeah.
Now we get pulled into sessions with people that are established, or like, or people we work with people that are, you know, just starting out as well. If we feel what they're doing, there's no like right or wrongs. But I feel like if you look at the history of partnerships in music and stuff, it's always been with somebody who connects with that person. Like if you look at Billie Eilish, like she worked well with her brother. You look at Justin Timberlake, he worked with Timberland. You know what I mean? So it's like the friendship is the bond, and then you can create freely without having any I don't know, just any kind of block, you know.
Exactly,
like
I like that.
With your name LDN Noise, first of all, how'd you even get LDN Noise? That feels like a name that could have been taken already, I felt. But like, how did even that name came to be? Obviously London, but just like, why did you choose LDN Noise? That's what I'm curious about.
I don't really know. I remember we had a list, didn't we?
We were sitting in my my mum's dining room, of all places. We were sitting in there with a piece of paper, and we were like, right, we need to come up with a name now, because we can't keep putting produced by Greg and Hayden. It's just not it's not looking good. So we thought, every time we travel, people always like really like our accent and like how fast we talk, and so we thought, right, London is a really good iconic place. People love London, but just the one word London is too obvious. It's taken. It doesn't stand out enough.
Yeah.
And then I think we literally just wrote Noise down on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, that could look good on a logo or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that works. It was literally the first one we come up with.
I can't remember what the other names we had, actually. I'd have to try and like see if I've got a note on my old phone or something. But yeah, there's probably some terrible ones.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wait, what were ones do you remember, actually? I'm wondering, like, what could have been? Like, do you know?
Honestly, I don't know. I wish I knew.
We were just trying to put another word with London.
I think at the time it was like, you know, when everybody started taking the vowels out of words, like to make it cool. Like there was like loads of clubs, so we just was like, oh, what about LDN, like London, and then
it works.
Yeah. But people call us LDN, which is weird because we always have to tell people it's London Noise, and they're like, people call us LDN Noise, which is strange.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, you guys have like London Noise. It's like iconic with, you know, what you guys have done, but to my knowledge, you guys don't have like a producer tag.
So we did. We kind of like played with it initially. We kept putting it in.
It's in Four Walls.
Yeah.
It's in Power, and then it's in another song.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. If you leave it there, I feel like the mix engineers really left them quite quiet. And we
There was a stage when we was like, right, we need a tag. We should put it in everything. But and I think we just like, sometimes it spoils the records. And I think if we was doing just like, say we was just doing hip hop and it was like every, you know, it's the same. He makes songs the same tempo every time, right? So you know, like it just works. But I think with us, we write ballads, we write dance music, we write trap songs. Like it could be anything. Yeah. So sometimes it feels like if you've got a ballad and then you're putting London Noise at the front of it, it's just like. It's just strange, you know? So
yeah, for sure, yeah.
I thought that was a thing that like all producers wanted to like, oh, let me, you know, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like you guys, yeah.
Tag.
Exactly.
Maybe we should do it more, or maybe we shouldn't. We should like give less of a shit about what people think.
To be honest, yeah.
But I think for us, we just care about the record more than our own personal gain. You know what I mean? We want it to be right, and we want it to sound right. So. Yeah.
Each song we get cut and placed with an artist. We're very like, we want to check mixes. We want to check like the translation is perfect, and we're not just like, oh, here's a song, take it. So that goes back to like the tag, and that if we feel like the tag's not making sense in it, then we will just be like, let's just take it out.
Before you guys were like London Noise, did you ever did any internship experience, or like in the beginning, or?
Not really internship, but we both went to like, did you go to college?
No, I got, so mine's a funny story. I was in what we call here, we have like sixth form, which once you leave school, you go to a place called sixth form, and that's for 2 years. I did a year, I left because after the first year, because they said that I didn't make the grades. So I left, and then that's when I met Greg and started working at his studio, and they rang me like 3 months into it and was like, oh, sorry, we messed up your grades. You did actually pass. Do you want to come back? I was like, no, I'm too far into the music now.
Let's thank that teacher, right?
Yeah. So Greg and YouTube taught me how to make music.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, right. So there was no sort of internship. It was just always kind of like got into like DJing and stuff, and then just the love of music just grew. So it was like, obviously, like one of the things I love about London is how eclectic it is with the music choices here. You know, we have a massive dance scene with different genres in just in the dance scene, and then obviously we have pop culture, we have the US influence, hip hop, you know, everything. So I think that kind of melting pot of sound has really influenced us to do that in our productions and take bits from, you know, all those influences and try and put them into our songs.
So do you think that internships are necessary within, you know, if you want to be in music production and that kind of thing? Or I guess necessary now like, you know.
Not necessarily as much now, because networking online is just bigger than it's ever been. Obviously, if you ever get an opportunity, if you're a producer, writer, A&R, to go into a studio, then great. But from my experience, I never did it, and it kind of worked out. I just think different roles, like if you're around the studio environment, it makes a huge difference, really.
Yeah, it does make a difference. You have to do stuff. Like I studied music in college for 3 years, but it wasn't really until I sat down with. We use Logic now, it's the software we use, but I was on Cubase at the time, and it wasn't until I really sat down and just started doing it daily that I learnt more. And I think like nowadays with like the YouTube tutorials, the stuff you can find online, it's a lot more, people gain a lot more experience free, right? You don't need to go to school. Like, if you're into like music, makeup, whatever it may be, you can learn this stuff online. I think the internship's not so much important in terms of learning the craft, but more for the networking side of it.
It's very true. Even for me, I went to film school for editing. I mean, you can learn how to edit online nowadays.
That's what I'm saying. But how long did you go to film school for?
I did like 3 until my professor, an amazing professor, told me, he's like, you don't have to finish this. He found my YouTube page and he's like, you have more open doors than most of these students. You should just go out and film. I'm like, all right. Best advice he gave me.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's just about being brave enough to and committing your time to learning.
Yeah,
it is.
And then, but beyond that, then just networking. I mean, for you, your network was your audience, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Network was your audience, doing the old body rolls and all of that.
You already know. Oh wow! How many videos did you watch of me? What the?
And for us, it was just like finding people that we connected with musically and and just figuring it out.
Okay. Did you guys always wanted to be a producer? Or did you know that you wanted to be one?
I kind of wanted to be a DJ initially.
Yeah, we both DJ'd. Like, we started out as DJing, and that kind of reaction from the crowd when you're dropping records and that, it will never leave you. It was kind of it's a smash hit. But then what if I made a song and I dropped it and people reacted in the same way? And for me, that was a bigger
buzz. Yeah. When you hear a track, like when you hear a song you've made and it's played back to you and people are singing or dancing to it, it's just such a buzz. You can't beat really. When we go to the shows and stuff, like,
it's unbelievable.
Super M was in London in February, actually just before the pandemic, at the O2 Arena in London, which is a huge arena.
That's a big arena, yeah.
And we was just like sitting there and we was just blown away. Like those moments you kind of reflect and then you just feel grateful for everything. But that was crazy. Being in our hometown, having made K-pop in Seoul, and then hearing it back in our hometown in front of like 20,000 people or whatever.
That is crazy.
Yes, it's a very cool experience. Same when we do KCON and we're speaking to people in LA and New York and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're from London and we're talking about Korean pop. It's just like, it blows my mind.
I just want to say that your panels, I have a busy schedule at KCON. It's like, it's hard to catch me, but I always make sure I need one panel I'll go to is London Noise. I'm like, I have to just check it out. Even if I'm late, I'll just sneak in and just watch. Have to. Love them though.
Love that. So I feel like, and actually y'all's panels, like they are, I know Dre, you like people have said like the roast is like extremely popular, and I'm just like looking at stuff from like KCON last year, and like y'all's panels are packed. Just y'all's panels probably like compete with each other.
Hey, we're popular at KCON.
Very popular, very, very popular. But so I guess after, before all these highs, or even amongst like, the amazing highs that you've been able to have, hearing your music played back to you at KCON in different large venues. Or stadiums. What has been the hardest part of your career that you've had to go through?
I mean, the hardest part is supporting yourself financially. The music industry is just cutthroat, and I think it's just getting started. But even when you get started, so even when I got started in music, it was like a struggle to kind of just earn money and stay committed to music. So sometimes you have to work jobs. It's like any passion project, right? You have to just like do your passion, but then eventually reality sets in, and you have to earn money. So it's just trying to find strike that balance between earning enough to survive and then doing your passion as well, and then hopefully your passion can become your job. So I think that for me was the hardest part of the music industry, and then also I guess just the kind of bullshit that goes on.
It's so political.
The politics and get into like who's looking after who and stuff like that. Sometimes that gets a little bit draining. You kind of have to like separate yourself from that and just try and stay creative.
It's been a lot of hard times, as you say, like financially, and just staying focused. Like especially with what's been going on this year, like we've lost 6 months of a year. We've been stuck in a house. We've not really socialized with friends and things like that. So to even think of sitting there and being creative, yes, you can. It's great. You sit in front of your laptop many hours a day, but it's not getting that inspiration, and I was finding it hard to stay motivated. And it was great. We was getting all these Zoom sessions and things like that, but the actual just staying focused and, as Greg said earlier, being with your family and things like that was a blessing. and that keeps you inspired.
I see. Well, before like COVID, how often were you working with idols or artists like themselves, or not at all?
So last time we went out to Seoul was probably about 9 months previous to that.
Yeah.
And then when we're not in Seoul, we're pretty much just working with writers and in our own studio, basically.
Makes sense.
We was due to go in at the end of February or beginning of March, and I think 2 weeks before or a week before our flight, it got cancelled because of the whole pandemic. So we nearly got stuck out there. So that was pretty crazy.
Wow. They got it under control. Or actually, no, they don't. Well, kind of, I guess. It's coming back a little bit. But I was going to say they had it under control quicker than like everywhere else.
I can't believe, like, when you look at the COVID cases in Seoul, it's like minimal, and they're still so precautious about it. Like, how do you find it? Is it like the people at restaurants and stuff? Is it back to normal?
So I got here last Friday, and so we have to stay in quarantine for 2 weeks. The way just everything about it, like, it's so strict. Like, I have to have this app open on my phone, like a GPS sort of thing at all times. Like, I have to check in morning and night what my temperature is, and then like if I don't, they're like, you didn't take your temperature, like I'm like, okay,
I did not know that. Wow, that's news.
The app will send me a notification, but then the government, at least like 10 to 15 times a day, they send like updates on like what's almost like an Amber Alert type thing. You get like, oh, a case was here, or even just as simple as like the air quality is bad today, maybe don't go outside as much. Like, you get those kinds of things. And and the most interesting thing was when I got a COVID test, it came back inconclusive, and then the next day they sent an ambulance, and they took me in an ambulance to the public health facility, and like within 15 minutes, and then like 3 hours later, I got my test back. When like in the States, it takes like a week or like month to get your test back. It's just crazy how like efficient it is. But they are having a spike right now. So then what did you realize with this time? Like, obviously family time is amazing, but like, what did you realize you were lacking maybe personally, whether it was work wise or not, when this COVID thing hit? Like, what did you realize that you were like, oh, I'm glad I now have this time to work on, besides like, spending time with family?
Well, I guess Hayden built a gym in his garage. So I guess I tried to buy a gym, and it took me probably like 4 months to get the equipment. And even though I've got it, I've probably used it about 3 times.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess health and is the main thing. But it's hard. It's hard to kind of think about other stuff than the family, because I think at the start everyone was just so worried about what was going to happen. So like, you just he's worried about the elderly, if you've got like a grandma. I think really just like getting healthy and trying to stay inspired and trying to stay creative and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
Do deadlines make you guys stay focused? Like, do you work well under pressure, or like having a deadline coming up very soon?
We're so used to deadline. Like, their deadlines are like, we wanted it yesterday. So mostly every song we do is a deadline.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, we do work well under pressure, and we kind of like, that's why we enjoy doing the writing camps, because we kind of thrive under that pressure of like getting stuff done. And sometimes that's hard to stay inspired. So when you have got free time, and when you can do what you want, like all of us, we get a bit lazy, watch too much Netflix or whatever. Definitely like working with deadlines and like working on people that know what they want. It's a lot easier.
It helps form a nice structure to your workflow. You come in that day and right, we've got this deadline, you do this, I'll do that, rather than just coming in, putting YouTube on and finding what's new music, which is good, but it's more inspiring to have them structured days and deadlines.
So when you worked with artists like Nick Jonas, compared to, I guess let's say like Nick Jonas compared to like when you guys worked a lot with Jonghyun, when you're given direction on how the track is supposed to sound, do you prefer that, and rather than like, okay, just do whatever you want kind of thing? And is that something that you experienced when you were working with Western artists more than, let's say, Korean artists, when you're if you're given direction or not?
I think everybody has some type of direction in mind when they're starting a project. So it definitely helps to have a kind of at least the guide of what you want to do, but you don't really want to make something. I mean, we always try and make a record. So if we're working with an artist like Shiny or EXO or any of those guys, we kind of want to make the next song on from that. You know what I mean? So like, we've done the music we've done for them already exists, right? So we don't want to make another Monster. We don't want to make another Power. We want to try and make something that's fresh.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Sorry, what was the question again? I completely lost my train of thought.
It was a long question too. We pretty much answered it. Like you prefer having direction rather than like just free balling it, I guess.
And songs as well are more personal to the artist. So we could have a direction of it where we want it to go, but then the artist has their opinion as well.
Yeah.
So like the Nick Jonas song, for example, we had a bridge section where we thought it should go, but he had a different view and opinion. So we just let him do his thing, and he come up with a really cool bridge section for that, which we thought our one was solid, but he kind of took it to another level.
He made it better. Yeah,
made it himself. He made it more for him, which is fine, and we're all for that. We're always want to produce the best quality song we possibly can.
I was going to ask, like, when you are working with artists, in what cases does a situation call for actually working with the artists themselves, like being in the studio with them, like during a song camp or anything like that, compared to when you're making it and you're sending it just back and forth? Is it because the artist is more just regularly involved in making their music, or is it like specific cases?
It depends on the schedule a lot of the time. A lot with the K-pop artists, their schedules are crazy. Like they're so busy. So because they're happy to let the songwriters do their thing, I think that's kind of, they're less involved. But more when they do their solo projects, they will come in and have a more stronger opinion than when they're in the groups. I think they get more of a say once it's their own thing. Mm-hmm. So like Baekhyun, for example, we worked with him quite closely on his record, and he was very vocal about what he wanted. And, you know, so that'd be the big difference. Whereas if it's a group project, then it's more the A&R or the manager conveying what the group want, because obviously there's 7 or 8 opinions, you know, so they've got to kind of filter it.
Okay.
That would make sense for sure. Yeah. Okay, how about this? Tell me something that you found to be true as good advice. It's a little open question, but welcome to In My Feels. Let's get in our feelings. That's kidding.
Trust your instincts.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily an advice as opposed to just a kind of quote or whatever, but
for sure, yeah.
Definitely trust your instincts and trust your gut feeling, because most of the time that's 100% correct.
You're the right one.
Yeah. As far as advice goes, I mean, do you mean like music wise or just in life?
I guess both. Yeah. What means true to you?
Being open-minded is my dad always says to me, be open-minded, just always listen to people in a room, take on people's advice, always listen, don't try and just be that diva in the room that's no, it's my way or the highway.
I don't know, man, just having a positive attitude and just trying to
you know, putting out positivity, you receive positivity, you know what I'm saying? Do you believe in things like manifestation? Like, you know, yeah,
100%. Yeah, and I think we've pretty much done that with most of our career. Like, if we have a target in mind. So, like this year, we really wanted to work with. Like, there's a few people we've got missing who we haven't worked with, and we really want to like achieve this list of people. So we're slowly like doing that. But I feel like, manifestation's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
In anything in your career,
for sure,
your life choices, anything like that. Definitely believe in that.
How do y'all specifically, try to manifest? Like you said, I heard you said you have a list that I guess you might have written down. Do you revisit that list, every so often, like every day, every week, just to remind yourself, or is it just like you write it down, let it go?
Yeah, I just kind of like, it's just internal. Like, I think if you set yourself a goal, just kind of like, internalize it and keep thinking about it. Or like, if it's more of a career focused thing, then me and him will discuss it and we'll just keep reiterating it week after week. Like, right, let's do that. How can we get to this? How can we do to that? and just try and take the small steps to achieve it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good manifesting, but you also need to take the steps to achieve that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, where you can say, "Oh, I want to work with this person," but you got to do something about it. You can't just think it. Yeah.
No, that's for sure. Because people think they could just reach something like that, but no, there's a lot of steps. It could be like 3 steps, and that's like lucky, to be honest. But it could be like 300 steps. That's usually how it goes.
Right.
So can I just ask, like, how did you guys discover K-pop?
Ooh, mine was, well, I'm actually curious about Emily's first. I've said this at KCON too many times, but you could go now.
Mine was, I knew about K-pop back in like 2012 with 2009 with Nobody's, or Wonder Girl's Nobody, and then revisited it in 2012 with SHINee, and I thought Fantastic Baby was by SHINee, not Big Bang, so there's that.
That's random.
And then I think it was really, I guess, 2018 was when I really or late 2017 when I fell into it with BTS, and then I started working at a K-pop store, and that just like opened my eyes to like everything else.
Is that in Seoul? Is that what you do now? Or?
Oh no. I just moved from LA. And yeah, so I was working at a K-pop store in LA, and then moved to Seoul. I'm teaching here now, so, and then also, you know, doing these like I guess podcast media things on the side as well.
You teach English?
I'm supposed to start like next Monday, not this coming Monday, but next Monday. I've never taught before, but that's the quickest way, right? This is like I guess one of the easiest ways to get a visa here in Korea. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I don't know, I guess I have experience with like my little cousins, so it shouldn't be too bad, I guess.
Are you fluent in Korean?
No, I'm enough to be like maybe just under conversational. I've been doing like a lot of the lessons or whatever daily, but I am not fluent at all. Do you guys know any Korean?
Only basic stuff. Only like hello, goodbye, left, right, there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, greetings, and then like where we need to go.
Yeah.
And then normally that's like to the studio, back from the studio to the hotel.
Right. Oh, Dre, you should finish your K-pop origin story.
Oh yeah, sure. So I just got done with a breakup back when I was 21. I'm into like R&B, like in hip hop. That's what I've always been, like the Neos, the Ushers, you know, the Mario, whatever. And basically, I literally typed in Asian Usher on YouTube randomly, and Taeyong from Big Bang came up when he did I Need a Girl in Wedding Dress. And I was like, he was playing I Need a Girl. I was saying, yeah, I need one too. You know, I kind of related with him. and it led me to like K-pop, like Big Bang, and then of course SHINee, and then like so on and so on. So it was like a snowball effect, like just by mistake. But I feel like I'm so open to like different types of music that I figured that I'll probably get into K-pop somehow. I've always been into that. Like even growing up, my dad is Jamaican. I'm half Jamaican, half Filipino. That's how I look like. But he obviously put me onto Bob Marley, and then you know like, and I discovered my other stuff. But I also wanted to figure out like I never in my Jamaican side I look up to Bob Marley, but in my Asian side I never really looked up to anybody. So I was like I wanted to discover that side of myself too. Yeah, but also my Korean is not that great either.
I think it's so funny you typed in Asian Usher.
Oh yeah. Like I just it just happened that way. But yeah.
Wow.
What do you like about Korean culture the most?
What do we love about Korean culture the most? I love how obsessed they are and how dedicated they are.
The attention to detail on everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. I don't know if that's a Korean thing or like an Asian thing in general. I'm not sure, but like,
okay.
But I think they're super dedicated.
Yeah.
In their choices and in their their careers or whatever it may be. The fandoms are brilliant and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I just like the vibe of Seoul. Like, it was totally different from what we expected.
Yeah, 100%.
and we just love it. We love being over there around the people, around the culture, the fashion, like, you know, fashion, the music, the food. Yeah, some really good food. So
okay, nice. Since you guys all are known for like working with Korean artists or even Western artists, are you open to working with other national, like other types of Asians, like let's say the Philippines, or even a guy like work with an Indian artist, Chinese? Have you ever done that?
Yeah, we've done a couple of records for Chinese artists actually.
Of course.
A guy called Fan Cheng, his name is. He's cool. He's like a rapper. I'll send you the link actually. He's pretty cool. Yeah, so we're open to music. You know, whether it's like, you know, whether it's Asia, whether it's English, whether it's German, you know, Latin, like anything. Yeah. We just love music, so we're open to any territory really. Yeah.
Who are y'all's favorite artists that you're listening to right now?
Ooh.
You showed me that thing I'm obsessed with. There's a guy, British guy called Shaka, who did like a it's like a quarantine EP, and it's just all like he's layered all his voices, made all chords and everything. It's amazing. Definitely check it out.
This is interesting. Yeah.
What's his name? Shaker?
His name's Shaka. Yeah, he's a cool writer. We've been trying to get him to do some K-pop stuff actually, because I think he'd be really great at it. Yeah. But yeah, he's cool. And then Disclosure, we've been bumping their stuff like dance guys. Yeah, and then stuff like, you know, Jack Harlow, Pop Smoke, some of the US kind of hip hop stuff. Really and then there's like UK people. Yeah, probably, yeah. And then there's like UK guys. You know, Dua Lipa's album's incredible. Really enjoyed that. And then like Stormzy and a guy called AJ Tracy, which is cool.
Heady One. They're all like on kind of the drill.
The drill, yeah, UK drill.
But we try and listen to a bit of everything, really, because you know, like you say, we listen to. It could be like really urban UK stuff, or it could be, you know, soulful R&B things as well. So, Mac Ayres, I really like his stuff. Khalid, I like his stuff as well.
Khalid too, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a bit of everything, really.
Okay.
I mean, you're listening to like different types of genres. Are you experimenting with sounds like in like your future projects?
Like always, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
As Greg said earlier, we're always trying to expand on what we've done and not do the same kind of. Because we get asked all the time, we have another Monster, and it's like, you can, but it's just going to sound like Monster.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to do that.
For sure, you want to create something. You want to create the trend.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's so difficult with stuff like that, because people listen to your work, they might love a song and they'll be like, can you make another one like that? But it's not satisfying. You know what I mean? It's just
for sure. I get that.
Yeah.
I have a question. If you guys could do or have a mulligan / one do-over, what would it be?
That is a tough one.
Very tough.
And it's not just career, you can do it in life as well.
I probably would have traveled more when I was younger. Like I definitely would have come out of college and gone around the world, because now I try and do, I mean, pre-lockdown, pre-COVID, I tried to do like a city every year and have like a couple of different vacations every year, just to kind of see the world and experience new things. So I think I would have liked to have done a bit of backpacking or traveling. And I mean, maybe not backpacking, because I'm not really good at slumming it. But
okay.
But I definitely would have liked to have done like Argentina, Brazil, you know, Southeast Asia, like, you know, just Australia, like places like that where I still haven't been, which I'd like to visit. So I would have liked to have done that. And then there's probably some questionable romantic relationships that I would have avoided.
You can't avoid those.
That's fair. That's
exactly.
I wanted to be a footballer really bad.
Ooh.
But that was from school. I was into every sport, but football was always the kind of the where I wanted to go.
You wish you give it more of a go? Like, you wish you actually
I got to one point in my football career where I had a scout come and watch me, but the day before, I got hit on the head with a golf ball and I cracked my head open, so I couldn't play.
Unfortunate.
Like, it was like a sign to me, like maybe football isn't going to work out.
maybe golf.
Oh
so I did
no.
try golf. So I left football, tried golf, and then my dad accidentally knocked my front 2 teeth out of the golf.
Oh, yo, those are signs. Those are signs that you shouldn't be in sports. At what point in your career did you ever feel like, wow, I made it?
I wouldn't say, wow, I've made it, because I don't feel like I've made it yet. You know, I don't feel like we've got to where I need to be. But definitely, when I first heard a song back to me, you know, I played at a stadium and a crowd singing back and having that success. Yeah. I think that moment is just like, it's goosebumps moment. And it's something that even now, when we still hear our songs played live, it's still like such a buzz, such a great feeling.
I remember we were sitting in the studio in SM watching EXO perform Power at the Winter Olympics. We was watching it on the TV.
Wow.
That was insane. Yeah,
it was just like all the traveling, all the long nights and days away from your family. It's just like all in that one moment. I just felt like we've achieved something massive here.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
That was a really cool moment for us.
Yeah, I think not many people can say that their song's been performed at the Olympics, so that's kind of let us really
for sure. Yeah, it's a crazy thing to experience, especially witness. Like, oh, that's my song. Like,
so you mentioned like you're not where you want to be. Where do you envision yourself / where do you want to be?
Yeah,
a dream of mine to have our own project, like, and see that through and be successful with it. So I feel like that's something we're still working towards. And then beyond music, I'd love to be able to provide more for my parents and things like that.
for sure.
You know, buy them a house, whatever it may be, like, you know, take care of my sister, take care of my family, things like that. If I could achieve that, I'd be super happy. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And also, like, we're really passionate about new talent and helping people, like, give them a path and opportunity, which we never really had as when we started out, like, just because there's so much talent now and there's so much, I call them like bedroom producers, singers. They're all just like in their bedrooms making this amazing music, but no one's hearing it. So any way we can, people send us music a lot of the time, we're blown away by it, and we want to help direct people in ways we can, just collaborate and communicate a lot with people. I think that's a big goal of mine. Yeah, I get more like happiness of seeing everyone achieve together, succeed, rather than just being like, oh, we've done this. But I want, as we said earlier, with our team, like growing up and coming up with all our friends. Yeah, it's a huge privilege to have that and share moments with people.
Yeah, share moments with people, definitely. Like last year, we just set up a publishing company. So Hayden and I are signing writers and producers as well now, that we could, like you said, that we can help and nurture that new talent and kind of give it the opportunity. So we're definitely looking for talent and demos and stuff. So we should drop a link in the video or something for demos. Or
with that, like, where can people send, you know, their demos, and where can people, you know, find you guys if they don't already follow you?
Yeah, so obviously it's pretty much at LDN Noise on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, we barely use Facebook, to be honest with you. But yeah, just pretty much Insta and Twitter. Yeah. And then, like I say, we'll drop a link for demos in this video. So if they go to the info, then we can do that.
Oh, for sure. Yay. Definitely help out with that.
Yay! Thank you guys.
Nice to have a chat with you all.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for In My Feels. I'm JRE.
I'm Emily.
We're London Noise.
And
thanks for having us.
Guys. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening.